In the last lecture, I talked about using Paul's prayers to ask God to do really big things in the lives of those you love. I said a couple of times, there's nothing more powerful about these prayers, nor is it better to use scripture to pray for others. No. The reason that scripture prayers can be helpful is that we ask God to do things that we normally don't ask him to do for others. That's all. We looked at one prayer by Paul out of the book of Philippians. He's given us several other examples of what he prayed for others, and you can find those online, by the way. Just do a search for it, you'll find them. But you can also use passages of scripture which are not prayers, just the same. Let me give you a couple of examples. Here's a beautiful passage from Proverbs. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Never rely on what you think you know. Remember the Lord in everything you do, and he will show you the right way. Never let yourself think that you are wiser than you are. Simply obey the Lord and refuse to do wrong. Oh man, I just wish I could trust in the Lord with all of my heart, all of the time. Wouldn't it be great if other people you love trusted God that way? So why not ask God to do it? Lord, I pray that Uncle John will trust in you with all his heart. I pray that Uncle John will never rely on what he thinks he knows. Please help Uncle John to remember you in everything he does. And please show him the right way. Please teach Uncle John never to let himself think that he is wiser than he is. Teach him to obey you and refuse to do wrong. Okay. Now, I think that is a great prayer. I would love for people to pray a prayer like that for me. Problem is, I'll be honest, people don't do it. I mean, some people do. Absolutely, some people do, but not very many. Most it's just, oh God, I pray you'll help him, bless him, Lord, supply all of his needs, help him to get better, help him have an effective ministry. Those are all great things to pray. You never want to stop praying those things. Those are awesome things to pray. This is always in addition. But wouldn't it be great if somebody was praying those kinds of things for you? So how do we do this kind of scripture prayer? Well, it works best with passages, Bible passages that are commands. And trust in the Lord with all your heart. That's a command. Lean not on your own understanding. That's a command. It takes a little work to set it up, but not that much work. But if you write it out, maybe after a while you might be able to just try to memorize the passage. Now, I need to warn you about something really important. You might be tempted to use these prayers to impress other people. Okay. And if you do that, this is what Jesus had to say about praying a certain way to impress others. When you pray, do not be like the hypocrites. They love to stand up and pray in the houses of worship and on the street corners so that everyone will see them. I assure you, they have already been paid in full. But when you pray, go to your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. And your Father who sees what you do in private will reward you. So don't learn how to pray scripture prayers and then pray them so you impress other people and they think, oh, whoa, whoa. Don't do that. And also, generally, you should understand the basic idea of what you're praying. If you're just praying the words without understanding them, well, I have news for you. Jesus had something to say about that too. If you're just praying these words, you don't even understand what you're praying, but you just take a scripture passage and you pray for somebody. Well, this is what Jesus says. When you pray, do not use a lot of meaningless words as the pagans do, who think that their gods will hear them because their prayers are long. Does that sound familiar? Do not be like them. Your Father already knows what you need before you ask him. Oh. So if you don't understand the meaning of the request you're bringing to God, that sounds like a lot of meaningless words to me. And Jesus says, don't use meaningless words. However, I want to say this, you need to catch this. There is another side to that question, all right? We never truly understand what we're asking God to do. If I pray, Lord, please encourage my good friend John. Well, God's way of encouraging John may be very different from what I expect God to do. I may not really be understanding what I'm asking God to do, encourage John. But that's not a problem for God. God will answer my prayer according to what is best for John and what's best for his kingdom. Okay, so I said before, this takes a little bit of work to prepare these prayers. It does. I'm hoping in the future to put a bunch of sample scripture prayers on the bobwetmore.com site. That's a future hope, not a present reality. Okay? So it's going to take a little work, 30 minutes to put together 10 prayers. And then as you pray through them, you'll change them and fix them and make them better. I just want to say that investment of 30 minutes to prepare a couple of scripture prayers to pray for those who you love, in addition to the other things you're praying. Remember, you're going to pray the other things already, jobs and stuff. That extra 30 minutes in the first preparation of those prayers can bring eternal benefit, because God's going to hear what you ask, and God's going to answer according to his perfect plan. James said, you do not have what you want because you do not ask God for it. Do you want God to transform the lives of those people you love? Do you want them to grow in ways that people normally don't grow? Well, James said, if you do not have what you want, I want these people to grow, because you don't ask God for it. If you ask God to change those whom you love using prayers like this, imagine what an impact you can have simply through spending some extra minutes communicating to God. You get that? And I just want you to keep this in mind. Keep in mind the words you're going to hear from Jesus as he rewards those loved ones. There you are, new heavens and new earth, and everybody's standing before Jesus, and you're going to listen to what Jesus is saying to your sister or Uncle John or whoever, and he's going to reward them. And he's going to say, well done, child. You grew in love. Well done. You trusted in me with all your heart. You didn't lean on your own understanding. In all your ways, you acknowledged me. And therefore, I was able to make your path straight. Well done. You served people, loved people, forgave people. And you're going to hear that and you're going to know you prayed for those people. God answered your prayers. He changed their lives because you were praying for them. And that would be the greatest reward of all, wouldn't it?